So we are going live. Just give me a second and I will let you know when we are up and running. So we are going. Awesome. So we are live now on YouTube. Let's start with some introductions. Thank you for joining us today, whether you are here with us live on this call or watching this via our YouTube channel. I want to welcome you to our VLA CAASPP Informational Training. My name is Kevin Dobson. I'm the Academy Coordinator. I'll turn it over to Ms. Burial, and then we'll introduce our two 11th and 12th grade advisors who are also on the call.
All right, hello everyone. I'm Laura Burial. I'm the Teaching and Learning Director at Natomas Charter School. So that means I get to work with all 5 academies. And I also was the VLA coordinator for about 12 years previously. So VLA has a special place in my heart.
Awesome. We'll start with our 11th grade. Miss Eichner, I know that you split 11th grade with Miss Stalter, but we'll turn it over to you first because you don't have any seniors this year.
Well, I have them in class and they are my special dears, but yes, I'm not their AC this year. Very bummerish of that. But yes, I am. I do have a handful of 11th grade ACs. But I still help kids. They still call me. They still talk to me, which is a good thing.
And our 12th grade academic advisor, Miss Stalter.
Hi, I'm Nikia Stalter. I'm the I am the AC for some of our 11th graders and all of our 12th graders.
So we will dive right into it. If you have any questions or concerns as the presentation goes on, please just enter those questions into the chat. We'll try to answer them as we go or address them at the end. We do have a question and answer opportunity available for all families at the end. So next slide. So what is CAASPP and who takes it? So it is something for high school that maybe you guys haven't experienced for quite a while. It is given to all 3rd to 8th graders in the state of California and also 11th graders. It is online, so this is even in a normal year. There are 2 parts, the computer adaptive test and a performance task. And then you have the EAP, which is the 11th grade SBAC. So you can see on the chart on the right what CAASPP will look like here in 2021. Again, it is all 3rd to 8th graders taking it and all 11th graders taking the English, language arts, and math assessments. It is important to point out that it is a shortened computer adaptive test this year with normal performance tasks. And when we get to our schedule for CAASPP week, that plays a role in how we have structured CAASPP compared to what it looks like in a traditional school year. The CAST is our science test that is given to all 5th graders, 8th graders, and 11th and 12th. And so we will talk more about that and why our 12th graders are taking it as well. Our physical fitness test was canceled. We traditionally will give that to all of our freshmen, but we are not administering that. It is canceled this year for all students. Next slide. So Ms. Burial helped put this together, and I think, as all of you know, learning is different, and so obviously testing is different this year as well. As I pointed out in the previous slide, the computer adaptive portion of the CAASPP test will be shorter than in previous years. Typically, that computer adaptive part is a standalone day, and they've shortened it significantly, and you'll see again when we get to the schedule how that impacts our testing schedule. This will give teachers more time to teach and students more time to master the material. We know that this year has been a challenge for everyone, and so this was kind of a compromise, I would say, but Ms. Burial, you can chime in, a compromise, I think, at the state level to still allow schools to, in the state, to gather some data, but also try to minimize the disruption to learning. So anything on that piece, Ms. Burial?
No, I think you covered it all, but really I know that both the federal government and the state government just want to make sure that our students are progressing and and getting what they need, which I know at VLA they are.
Awesome. And I will say, just on a state level, there's been lots of groups that have really pushed for state testing, really out of an equity piece to ensure that students are learning during this time. So next slide. So what are the benefits of CAASPP? So the science test, again, will only be administered once in high school. If for our seniors, obviously they are taking the CAASPP testing this year. The reason for that is because they did not take it in their 11th grade year. But all students are required to take that by their 12th grade year. The results of these statewide assessments, whether you are taking this in 11th grade or in 12th grade, they can be used by some colleges in California to decide how ready students are for college level classes. And so we really, really want to make a point for all our 11th grade families that CAASPP testing can only help your students. And what it means is that if for some reason there was maybe some medical event or something happened and you were somehow unable to take CAASPP testing, it could mean that you were put into a remedial math or English class, regardless of if you're at a four-year university or a community college. And again, it goes back to our goal to ensure that every student has that opportunity to take CAASPP testing. And then it also is a factor in whether or not students receive the seal of biliteracy. So that is a special distinction on your diploma for 4 years of foreign language, or that if you've shown proficiency in maybe a native language other than English. But you're unable to get that if you have not taken the CAASPP assessment. In addition, as I put in a couple emails that have gone out regarding this, with the world of education just simply turned upside down, the traditional data points that colleges look at, they're really seeking additional opportunities to get really vetted data on where students are at and what students are capable of. And we as a team really feel that CAASPP does provide us, just another data point for students. Ms. Stalter, did you want to chime in just about what you were seeing from some of your seniors this year? Because I think it was a unique year as seniors were applying to college, and where we say, all right, well, what are your SAT scores? And we don't have that. Or what are your, all these things?
I think that we really, usually we're not quick to push for mass testing, especially in a situation like this. We don't want kiddos to feel that high stress level on this, but we really do want to emphasize the opportunities that testing like this gives our kids. We don't have a ton of data on kiddos for the last year. We have really been on lockdown, and what we do have is only one data point. So, colleges this year, when we had kiddos that were applying, they would say, is this going to be a good fit for me? And unfortunately, I didn't have all of the same data points that I usually have to say, like, yeah, this is a reach school, or this is a good school, or, this is going to be a great fit for you. Or I didn't have a lot of those things. So, my emphasis this year, especially with my ACs, is really going to be that, hey, any opportunity to have another thing to show somebody is a good opportunity. And we need to take advantage of those.
Next slide. So today are going to really just go through 3 different things: the schedule of events, what CAASPP testing looks like that week, our health and safety protocols, and then the actual testing components. So next slide. So first, let's talk about the schedule. Juniors are up first. This has been on our yearly VLA schedule, and I don't know, I feel fortunate that somehow we've continued to stick to this schedule amidst all the craziness of this year. So again, we made this before we went to summer break, and we've continued to follow it. And believe it or not, CAASPP testing is still going to happen as previously scheduled. So juniors are up first. A reminder that for all families, there are no workshops during testing week. There is still online work. And so I know sometimes students say, oh, no workshops, no work, but we don't want you to fall behind an entire week. So the testing schedule for juniors: on Monday, March 22nd, they will come to campus for their CAASPP testing. Only juniors will be on campus. No cohorts, no Learning Hub students will be here, only juniors. Again, we are following our traditional policies that allow individuals to come to campus and the screen at home procedures, and we'll talk about that. And we've been bringing students on campus since really early October. So it's been great to refine that. So Monday, 9 a.m., students arrive. They will do their English performance task. You'll notice that that is approximately 2 hours. We're giving them a little bit additional time for that. And then we've extended our lunch so that students have an hour-long lunch. Lunch is provided on campus. Obviously, students are welcome to, encouraged to bring their own lunch if they want as well, but it is free lunch. Students will be outside, spread out, socially distanced, just as they've been doing on campus, again, since pretty much October. Then they will come back to their designated area. They'll take their CAT assessment for ELA, and that one is an hour long. You'll notice that we build in another 20-minute break afterwards. And this is so that students can go home if they are done, or if they need additional time, then they have about an hour more, slightly more than an hour on the back end of the day to finish up any of their English assessments. With CAASPP, it is untimed. So if they don't finish on Monday, that is completely okay as well. But we do want to try and build in as much time as possible for students. Tuesday's schedule is virtually the same. The only difference, obviously, is the math instead of the English piece there. All right, next slide. Wednesday of the week, we are excited to be able to offer the SATs for, as far as I know, the first time in NCS history, free of charge on campus. And this is something that is available to all 11th grade students. We have 8 to 12. It may go till 1 o'clock. It depends on the demographic information. We may try and build that into the week, or just simply do that on the back end to make it a little smoother for our students and try and minimize the time that they actually have to take their SATs. The SATs is optional. There will be a form going out, but we, again, really encourage all students to take it. Just like the CAASPP, it's not going to hurt you whatsoever to take it, to get a score. And again, it is free of charge. It's something that we are very, very, very excited about. And Thursday, then you have the science assessment. You'll notice a similar format, except science is not broken between the CAT and the performance task. Instead, we now have segments. And so for science, we'll do segments 1 to 3 before lunch and segments 4 to 6 after lunch. Notice again that there's additional testing time available in the afternoon. And then we have that entire day Friday if a student needs to come back to campus to finish out their CAASPP testing. If they don't need to, then their CAASPP testing and hopefully their SATs are all done by the end of the day, Thursday. All right. And then we have our seniors. So next slide.
Okay, can I add something about the SAT?
Yes.
So this is a great opportunity. It's the real SAT. And so that form that's coming out, please fill it out if you want your student to take the SAT, because while it's free to students, we are paying as a school. And so if your student is not interested, we want to make sure that we're putting that money towards another student that would like that opportunity. So it's really important.
May I jump in as well? And juniors, please, 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 even if you don't feel like you're ready to take this test, again, every data point is a good data point, okay? Even if this is where you start and you decide to test again in a few months, you take that test again and you can see growth. They'll use the best of the two, okay? So always use every opportunity.
And again, that form will be going out. We'll have more communication regarding that. But it is something, again, I think that we are all really excited about that opportunity to offer. And I guess I should also point out that when Ms. Burial said that, it reminded me, to emphasize, CAASPP is all virtual. It's online. Students will come in, they will have a Chromebook, they will work virtually. The SATs is still the paper-based, packet, just similar as it's always been. So I did just want to emphasize that the format is remaining the same for the SATs. For seniors, on Monday, March 29th, they will have their science test. Maybe the question comes up, well, why don't we just combine them with our juniors? We want to try and make sure that we're spreading students out as much as possible. We, as you know, have very small class sizes. Being able to spread them out amongst their 5 spaces really helps ensure that we are having really no more than 5 or 6 students in any one space at a time. If we add in our seniors on the same day as juniors, that becomes a bit more of a challenge. So senior CAASPP schedule is on Monday, March 29th. Again, the exact same format it was for the juniors, 9 a.m. until 2:30. There's additional time provided on the back end of that day. And then there is that Tuesday available for makeup if students need the additional time. Again, remember the CAASPP is untimed, and so they are able to do that. All right, next slide. So health and safety protocols, again, maybe some of your own children have been coming to campus, but we have been having students on campus since early October. We've continued to expand our cohorts in the fall and then increase time on campus here in the spring. And so anytime a student arrives to campus, they're asked these screening questions. Next slide. And then again, students have assigned seats. They're spread out between the following rooms. And so they will be spread out even more than they currently are in our learning hubs. So we'll be utilizing our learning center, the D2 classroom, the N4 lobby, the N4 classroom, and our computer lab. I also want to preface this by just saying that during the SATs, we actually have to shuffle the rooms a little bit. So those students that were in D2 will remain in D2, but those in the other spaces, we're actually going to be using the entire D wing for the SATs because there's some different pieces required in terms of observations. So we'll have 5 classrooms that we'll be using for the SATs on that Wednesday. Again, students will have assigned seats, and lunch is free and available to all students. As I've said in our weekly emails, literally every week, and I know that Dr. Wood has said this in every one of his emails as well, we are participating in the Stay at Home, the Screen at Home campaign county-wide. And so if you do have any of these symptoms, if you know there's a yes that you've been around somebody that's been exposed to COVID, we want to play it safe, stay at home, and we will work with you to figure out how to make up this testing. Unfortunately, the SATs, there isn't going to be a makeup day provided free of cost on our end, but in terms of CAASPP, there is some more flexibility if a makeup day is needed because of you staying home. All right, next slide. So I just wanted to share some testing tips. I know that this is, again, primarily for juniors and seniors, so I apologize because these are probably things that you guys all already know. I did just want to share some best practices on the day of your test. First of all, get some rest. I've had some meetings with students where they're like, oh, do I need to study? Is there a study book for this? No. Okay, we just want you to come in, try your best. Getting sleep, eating a good breakfast, and getting some movement before the test are really all that we're asking that you do before the test. I will share the slides as well. And we do have a link to some test taking strategies. This is, again, just speaking generally, best practices. And then there is an opportunity to take a training test, which is a good opportunity just to see how CAASPP works and to see how to navigate the various screens, because it is online and there are different features within that. Ms. Barrow, did you want to add anything further about the practice test and just what that kind of looks like, or how that would look like for families and students?
Yeah, so the our students that are in juniors and seniors haven't taken a CAASPP test in quite a while, since 8th grade. I know our sophomores this year got to do an IAB, but we haven't been in the system to see all the kind of bells and whistles. And so taking a training test gives you just a peek into the system, because they have great things where you can highlight different things as you're reading through using those annotating skills that I know you've learned in VLA. There's like strikeout tools, so that, if you're kind of like eliminating different multiple choice answers, you can flag something like, oh, I want to come back to that. There's different little things that you can do. You can make, the reading bigger or the questions bigger. And so taking a training test or a practice test, it's not so much about having to complete the whole test, but just going in and kind of playing around with all the different tools that can support you as you're taking it. And so, and those are all the strategies that your teachers have been teaching you. So really it's, just an opportunity to get comfortable within the format so that you're not having to figure it out on the day of the test.
And our goal really, guys, is we recognize it's an unprecedented year, is to give you the easiest testing experience possible. You come in, you take the test, you're very socially distanced with our small numbers, and really you just have a successful experience, and then it's over. It's spring break. You get 2 weeks off, and we will see you in the second week of April. Just somewhat related to this as well, as our case counts continue to go down, our hope is that we will finally be able to increase the number of students on campus. So we hope that this can be a nice segue to that as well. We know that for some of our juniors, this will be the first time on campus in an entire year. So we're also, as a team, it was probably like one of the things we all pointed out. We are just so excited to be able to see all of you guys on campus. Like, we have not gotten enough of that this year. So next slide, and that is really about it. We're going to open it up for question and answer. If you do have questions, please, again, as we've said throughout, pop them into the chat and we can address them as they come up. Ms. Eichner, did you have anything else that you'd like to share? I know that I had you haven't shared out yet, but was there anything that we maybe missed, or that you wanted to include as well, while maybe some of our participants are generating some questions?
I think everyone has done a really good job. Again, we just want to say that really the whole point is to just find out things. That's all it is. It's just like, let's see. I really want to stress that to all of our juniors and seniors too, is that it is not, we're not going to be looking, there's no point where you're going to do bad, or we had a student ask, well, what's a good score? There is none this year. That's the great part of this year, is that there really isn't a good or bad score. That's not the whole point of testing this year. So don't think of it as that. Don't try to find a point that you got to do well on. It is just gathering. It's just gathering information. That's all it is this year. So should be pretty easy for everyone to get on campus and take the test. Masks, I know you didn't really mention it, but obviously we're all going to be wearing masks. Yeah. We all have been wearing masks on campus anyways, but yes, that will be happening.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I echo Ms. Eichner? This is it's valuable information for us. It tells us how are we doing as far as preparing our students, right? If we see, there's an area that everybody, was having a hard time with, then that allows us to adjust our curriculum, to adjust, the strategies we're teaching students. So it's valuable information for the teachers. And, it also is your way of giving back to the future generations at VLA, because then that supports what we're doing to support them. I have to say, though, being at VLA this year, distance learning is VLA's jam. So you guys are like in the position. I'm waiting for the VLA scores to just really wow us, which oftentimes they do, but I'm kind of rooting. It's like, okay, you guys have been doing your thing. Let's see this, so.
I was going to say, I didn't know if I wanted to include that on the live stream, but, as this goes on the NCS YouTube page, but I've been bragging all year about how amazing our teachers are and our students and how we've been able to navigate this pandemic. So I think there is some competitiveness in me as well that I'm eager to see how you guys all do this year. So I also love Ms. Stalter's chat that continues to navigate back and forth in the background as we talk about the CAT assessments. So does anybody have any questions? I don't see any in the chat. And before I end the recording, I did just want to open it up one more time to see if anybody did have any additional questions. Again, if there is, we don't want somebody who is having, COVID symptoms to say, well, I have to be on campus, I have to take this test. Again, we are doing the Screen at Home campaign, as we've done for all of our cohorts, all of our students coming to campus. Reach out, let us know, and we can work towards a makeup day. We are the first academy that is taking CAASPP, and so we are kind of navigating this all together. but we want to make sure everybody's being safe as well as we're going through this. Okay, I am going to then, I guess, end the recording. Before I do so, I just want to encourage anybody watching this video that if your questions weren't answered, if you have additional questions or concerns, things that come up, obviously you can reach out to one of our ACs who are here on the call, Ms. Eichner or Ms. Stalter, reach out to myself or Ms. Burial. We really want to work with you to ensure this is a safe, successful week. And again, a reminder that if you are not a junior, you're not coming to campus on that first week of testing, the week of the 22nd, there are no workshops for our academy on the week of the 22nd. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great night. Again,